This week it's just me, and we're going to be looking at two topics. So the first one is how to drill down on marketing channels on GA4. We're going to be looking at how you can replicate some of the functionality in Universal and use the new summary cards functions. And then we're also going to be looking at exploring purchases by device, something that's a bit tricky to do with server-side tracking, but you can build in an exploration. Okay, let's get started on the first topic then. So, how to drill down on marketing channels. What do I mean by this? So, let me just share my window. Okay, so let's start off with Universal. So, what people liked in this acquisition channels report in Universal Analytics was the ability to go in and click in on a particular channel. So here, make it a little bit bigger. Here we had the default channel groupings. And if I wanted to see, okay, where do those 52 people from organic search come from, I could click in and then it would build the report, which actually had the keywords, obviously not provided, not very useful, but I could go and look at source or perhaps more usefully landing page. Right, so then if I wanted to do a similar thing with referrals, I could click in and just going to get out, click all. I could go in and do a similar thing for the referrals channel. So click in, where do these 18 referrals come from? I can go and have a look at. Okay, so we don't have that in Google Analytics 4. So here's my equivalent store, our merchandise store for GA4, and you can see if I go to the equivalent report, user acquisition, what you can see is that I have channels, but I don't have any drill down. I can't click on these things. So that's the problem, and a lot of our users have pointed us out the last month. What do we do about it? Well, I think there's a number of ways you could solve this, building your own explorations, but I think the one I want to look at today is to actually edit these reports so that we can get this every time we come into Google Analytics, we can get a quick overview. Now, I'm going to just go back and select a bit more of a date range so that we just have some traffic. We don't get much traffic over this. Right, and then let's say I want to drill down on my organic search. Well, let's organic social channel. Okay, right. So I can't click on this, but I know there's 3,000 odd users who come from there. How would I drill down? Well, I think that you can actually go in and just change this. How the table is sorted by. So I could go and have a look at source, but that's not that useful because it's obviously everything. So I could say, right, I have a filter where I want to see where user first default channel group exactly matches organic social, wasn't it? Social. Oh, that's not doing that. Okay, well, let's just do it for organic search then. Okay, so I could add a filter. That's going to allow me to see what's the source for all of my organic search, but again, not super useful. And also, next time I come back to this report, this filter is going to disappear. So filters are a temporary thing you can just add. What you can do is edit the report permanently, and that's what I'm going to do. So I want to create a version of this user acquisition report that just looks at well, let's pick on the organic search channel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter to the report. I'm going to do the same dimension, which is user first user default channel group exactly matches organic search. Okay, cool. So table's not that useful, and this bar chart definitely isn't useful. So I'm going to hide the bar chart. But what I want to do in the table is to add a different kind of dimension. So dimensions here, we can select from one of these. In fact, for organic search, none of these is going to be useful. What we really want is a landing page. And what I can do is add that to the list here, and then is click on the little 3 dots, set default, and apply. Okay, so now I can see all of my organic search traffic and what pages it came to. Don't worry about the highly inflated number here. That's just we were sending some test traffic to our home page. That's why it's inflated. But we can see kind of what are the landing pages from our organic search. Okay, so I've got my chart. I've got my my breakdown in the table. I could change the metrics I want to see. So maybe I'm really not interested in engagements, sessions per user, or average engagement time, or event count. I really just want to make conversions, revenue, and what I might want to do is user conversion rate. Okay, so right, got that. It's more useful straight off the bat. Now I can click save. Now here's the important bit. I don't want to save change of the current report because I want to keep that overview user acquisition report. I want to save a new report, and I'm going to call it user acquisition organic search. Hopefully self-explanatory, no description needed. Cool. So I've got this, and I'm going to go back here, and what I'll find though is when I go back to reports and acquisition, it's not there. Here's one I built earlier for referral, but how do I get that organic search one? Okay, so to do that, I have to click on this library folder down here, and I'm going to edit this collection. So the lifecycle collection is what you'll see over here. So this published collection. I want to edit it, and here's the little menu that allows me to drag and drop, and I want to find that that report we just created, user acquisition organic search. I'm just going to drag it in here. So just underneath the overall acquisition before referral, save as current collection, and then that's going to get published. Okay, so far so good. Now, one more bit. So I can now go into acquisition here, and I can go and see what's happening in my organic search traffic. So I can't quite click through from the organic search table, but I can. But I can just click on the link. But what wouldn't be nice just to be able to have the acquisition overview. So Google Analytics 4 has these nice things called cards, and we can add cards. So what we can do again is customize this report, little edit icon on the top right, and we can add some cards. So I'm going to have a look at that organic. So when you created that, this is the way the inheritance works. There was a new user acquisition report. And then when we created a copy of it, it automatically copied these cards through from that report. So I'm going to copy this data table one. Now, I don't want user default channel group because that's, well, I'll do it, but I'll show you it's kind of useless because it's not showing me anything interesting. So what I actually want to do is get rid of that, go back to add cards, organic, and what I can do here is change the drop down. I was hoping to be able to add the landing pages here. Missed a step. Go back, discard the changes, cancel. No, you don't want to do that. Discard. Okay, sorry, Google Analytics 4. We're going to have to reset you. Discard. Right. So this is my report. Organic search. Right. I want to edit this here, and I said the cards are created. Do you see? I've got here this one users. Now I just need to edit this data table because it said default is channel group. I want to add back that landing page query string, and I want to default that. So there we go. Right. So now we actually have a useful table that shows me a summary of what's in the main report. Okay, so click apply, save changes to current report, save, it's already published. Got it. And then we can go back to acquisition overview. We can edit it. We can add a card. We can search for organic search. Organic. And then we have it already here with the landing page and query string. Add the card, and final step is to save this, change the current report, save. And now when we go back, what we'll see is this new useful landing page from organic search chart. And if I want to drill into it more, I can just click here. So just to summarize, we can't get back the drill down. I guess Google's just decided from user experience point of view, the kind of links within the reports were sort of confusing, and also frankly they were hardwired. So you can't click through from a table. What you can do is create a filtered view of that report that's permanently saved. So next time I come into this account, in fact, next time anyone using this property comes in here, they'll see this user acquisition organic search report. And they'll also see in the acquisition overview, they'll see a card that summarizes that information. And I can do a very similar thing. I've done this for, here's one I made earlier for referrals. Again, if we want to know referrals, that we default channel group is not the interesting thing. What we want to know is the mention that's useful is the source, because the source of referral is the actual site that referred. So we're going to set that as the default. So that fixes that bit. And then again in the cards, I'm just going to edit this card. And I want this data table. It's quite a similar thing as a bar chart or data table. Data table is just a little bit more useful. So again, I don't want to have first user default group. I want to have first user source, which is already there. First user source save. There we go. Now the card is useful as well. So we can save changes to current report. It's already published. And we could go back to the overview and we could click edit. We can add a card, and this time we want it for referral. New users by first user source for referrals. Add the card, click save. And again, what we've got is that another card. So you see how you can just replicate that for all of your major channels. You could just create a card for each. Each of them has a drill down report, and that's how you get an overview of like how all the different channels are changing. Obviously, I did this all for default channel group, first user default channel group, for example, but Google Analytics does have the ability to set custom channel groups if you want to change up how it classifies your different traffic. Okay, we're done with that topic. So just to go on to the next one, which is about purchases by device. Okay, so here's the challenge. With the server-side tracking that we have, if we go back to the, what we want to do is look at, sorry, I'm trying to see where it is in the report. Here we go, user attributes tech overview, right. So if we want to look at, for example, not just users, but purchasers by device, which is probably easier to see it here on the monetization overview. We're not going to see anything useful. So although we have purchases, when we look at purchases by device, it's not here anywhere, but if we did look at that, it's not going to show us anything useful. So we can build an exploration, but it needs to use the landing page, not the purchase event. And that's simply because the landing page is sent from browser. The browser obviously knows what device the browser is running on. Google, even though we can know that on the server, Google doesn't give us any way of saying this event was sent via an iPhone or via a desktop. So what we're going to do is build an exploration to unblock this. I'm just going to create a blank exploration, and I'm going to start with one dimension, which is the page path and query string. Okay, so this is what we're going to base a report based on the device that saw a particular page path, and so we could do it by, let's have a look at purchase. Actually, sorry, we want to look at users, not purchases, because that won't be linked. So we'll look at active users. Right, now we need to create some rows. So we're going to drag this page path. That's going to be our rows, and the active users are metrics. So that's our values. So what this report shows is just all of the users by what pages they saw. Okay, so far so useless. Now what we need to do is just look at the thank you pages. So we're going to go into filter here, filter by page path, and filter where it contains thank_you. That's specifically how Shopify phrases the thank you page, thank_you. Right, now, oh dear, no data. Now, the problem here is just that we haven't had any purchase on this test tool last month. So don't fear. What I'm going to do is go back in time to November last year, and then we'll see that, yep, here's all our thank you page views. Okay, again, how about devices you hear me ask? Well, you're right. I don't actually want to look at the page past the device, just the filter. What I want to look at is device and device category. So let's add those, device category, device model, why not? And then what we can do is drag those into our rows, device category, and device model. And in real time, Google Analytics is just gonna set that. Okay, so device not set, never fear. But device category you can see is there. We might want to also add maybe operating system. That. You get the idea. Okay, and then finally, with every as with every exploration, if that's useful, what you need to do is obviously pick a name for it. So we might call this purchases by device and operating system. And then I'm going to say thank you very much. And when I go back to the list here, I'm going to see that already saved. I'm going to get rid of this. There's one I made earlier, but I'm going to get rid of that one, and I can just click delete. Now, one final thing with explorations, when we create that is private just to me. I'm not going to be able to, and no one else logging into this account is going to see that. So if you think it's useful across the company and it's not too polluting of the list of customer reports here, there's no way of creating folders or anything yet. Sorry, I call it customer reports. I mean explorations. I can just click share, and share means all the users in the property can read it, but only I can edit it. And it tells me there that the owner is a Littledata support, so that's why. And it gives me a little symbol there with the two people and the one person say that I've shared it across the company. Now, if someone else wants to use it, they could create their own, or they could ask me to duplicate and edit it. Great. That is all we have time for on today's show. I hope that was useful. As usual, if there's any other questions or we have any queries we'll be running some more regular webinars, so look out for the dates for that, where you can ask your questions, and we are always open to comments on what to cover next time. Thank you very much for listening.